Nico and Cam Newton are similar. How?
Nico Iamaleava is, to me, could be this year's Cam Newton for a couple of reasons. The first, let's just talk ball for a minute. When you talk about quarterbacks created in a lab to run the right system, doesn't get much better than Cam Newton to Gus Malzahn, does it?
No, that was perfect.
Yeah, that was a better marriage than Urban Meyer and Tim Tebow, wasn't it? That was the greatest marriage in the history of football, Cam Newton and Gus Malzahn.
I would take Tebow, but you could argue it either way.
I mean, Cam Newton's 1 year was better than any of Tebow's years at Florida.
Oh, yeah. I just thought you meant matching the offensive system. I would take Tebow.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that maybe it's more like it was Gus Malzahn and Cam Newton, but it was mostly just Cam Newton, is what you're saying.
Yeah. That guy, I saw him run the first time and break loose in his fluidity and power and speed. Somebody mentioned Josh Allen. That's not a bad comparison, except that Josh Allen can play football and play quarterback.
Oh, for Joe Milton. For Joe Milton, we're being clear. But except Josh Allen also misses easy throws. Stephon Diggs wide open over the middle. Sorry. But okay, so the reason I bring up Nico and Cam Newton is this. Nico is the other quarterback going to a system he was created in a lab to play for.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Josh Heupel became an evil scientist and went to a lab and was like, oh, let me design my quarterback. And came out with Nico. And at the same time now, what's happening? Bombshell, his 1 year starting at Tennessee, that he could be in some NCAA trouble. Or the school could be in some NCAA trouble for issues revolving around him. Well, wasn't Auburn in NCAA trouble for issues revolving around Cam Newton?
But here's what you're doing. I just don't like that you're drawing him into this. He didn't do anything wrong, and I don't think anybody thought they were doing anything wrong.
No, you're right. Well, I don't think Cam Newton, I don't know how much Cam Newton knew. That was Cam Newton's father that was shopping him around, not necessarily Cam Newton.
Right. But
so it's the same.
Here's my thing. Nico wasn't being shopped around. He committed early in the process, and you knew he was going to be a Tennessee guy early. I mean, they didn't send Austin Price out to California just for the food trucks.
Well, what I'm saying is both quarterbacks were are now unfairly scrutinized from the NCAA.
No. Here's where your comparison is not apt. Clearly, Cam Newton was being shopped. I knew that before everybody else did. Nico didn't think he was breaking any rules. I mean, they knew they were breaking rules.
But Cam Newton, but what I mean is Cam Newton wasn't shopping himself. His father was shopping him. Like, his father was shopping him from school to school, basically. And so that's where I'm at. And by the way, I don't think they did anything wrong. I think Cam Newton, let's call it what it is, Dave. We probably think Auburn gave him $80,000, right?
Yes.
Is that not the greatest investment in the history of college football?
Yeah.
You spent $80,000.
I think $2 million solid. I don't think you're going to be able to do that moving forward. And I say that, Caleb, because I think you're going to pay. Here's the way this is all going to settle out. You're going to have to pay your current players and some transfers. By the way, Roto22 says over 100 people watching, only 4 likes is crazy. Come on. Hit the like button. Smoky Mountain Red says, reminds me of Juicy. That's right. You remember him? Juicy Locke, who was fantastic. Juicy Locke, the guy who was Eric Locke's dad. Do you remember Eric Locke?
Oh, I remember Eric Locke having transferred to Tennessee from Alabama, but I don't remember Juicy Locke.
Okay. Nico's dad is 100%, 180 degrees opposite, 100% different than Juicy Locke. Juicy Locke would just go in Philip Fulmer's office and sit there until he talked to him, which at the time was a violation because it was a non-contact period. So what are you supposed to do? Have security remove him and not speak to him? How bizarro was that time? I mean, to think that Juicy Locke was the most bizarro thing that happened during the Fulmer era, and it seems like we get something more bizarre each and every week with this group. All right. Travis says he might unlike it. Hit the like button. That hurts, Travis. All right. So more Nico Cam comparisons I don't think are good ones.
You guys should be excited because what this means is Nico is going to have a historic college football season and lead Tennessee to a national championship while he wins the Heisman. Also, the other part of this is another one. Here's a big comparison, by the way. Here's a huge one. Cam Newton was on a team that was solid, but not loaded with NFL talent. We agree with that, right? Like Cam Newton was like, so he there were about 6 other guys that were probably NFL players.
Okay, yeah. Just by the way, if anybody else is sick of the fact that Caleb's comparing Cam Newton, who's a jackwagon, and Nico, just let me know in the message.
How's Cam Newton a jackwagon?
He's saying all kinds of stupid stuff about Brock Purdy right now.
Because he's not a good analyst. He should. This is one of those where like
what is he good at except for being big and running around? He wasn't even a great passer. He was an above average passer.
I mean, I'm glad Lamar Jackson.
First half Lamar Jackson NFL, not second half. I just don't. I wouldn't want to be. I think that you're talking about the difference between. Okay, I think you're talking about the difference between a Peyton Manning and a Ryan Leaf. I think one happens to be good at football because God said you're going to be great at football, and the other works extremely hard at it. I just don't. I don't even like the comparison of going there.
I think Cam Newton did work hard at it. I think Cam Newton had a shelf. You're right. He needed his athleticism, so he had a shelf life in the NFL because he was never going to be an accurate passer. Just never was going to be. So once he lost his step, you just couldn't have Cam Newton on your team anymore. I'm bringing up
that being said, Travis says Brock Purdy might be the 10th best San Francisco 49er.
I mean, he really might.
He's not.
I would take Jawan Jennings over Brock Purdy. I'd keep him.
Okay, that's stupid. All right.
What about Nick Bosa? Nick Bosa or Brock Purdy? You got to get rid of one.
All right, hit the like button, guys. Subscribe.
Okay,
all right,
the reason I'm bringing this all up is because...
Okay, here's the other thing that their family was looking for money when it was dead to rights illegal. You could argue it's illegal with prospects now, but there's a big gray area. Cam's family knew they were all cheating.
I'm not trying to create a 100% pattern here. I'm saying there's 3 ways they're similar. They are both at the center of an NCAA probe, fair or not, their fault or not. They both are quarterbacks going to a system that you and I both agree they were created in a lab to play for, and they both were on teams. As you know, Cam was on a. You would agree, Dave, that this Tennessee team that Nico is, he's not surrounded by NFL talent, right? He's got a few guys, but it's not like NFL talent all over the floor, all over the field, like Alabama, Georgia, LSU. It's not like what Joe Burrow had at LSU. Nowhere close to that.
Yeah, but where are you going? He's got more talent than Auburn.
Do you think this Tennessee team has more talent than the 2010 Auburn team?
Offensively, I don't think they have more talent top to bottom.
Okay, well, that's where I'm at. Is what I'm saying is that Cam Newton had to be that important to uplift the whole team, whereas Nico would be a similar way where, yes, he's got some talent around him, but if they win a championship, it's because Nico. Don't get me wrong, LSU won it because of Joe Burrow, but Dave, I got to be honest with you. I think a mediocre quarterback could have won the national title for LSU that year. I think they just happened to have a great quarterback with that team because they were so loaded with talent. They're not it's like, okay, Georgia. You and I could have won a national title for that 2021-22 Georgia team.
Fair enough. Okay.
What I mean is Nico is the first quarterback who would actually have to elevate his team to win a national title the way Cam did. Jameis Winston too, but he's not in the SEC.
Yeah. Okay. I just don't like it. It's like saying, that Caleb, he's got a lot of similarities to the Unabomber.
How is Cam like the Unabomber? Just don't.
He's just not a good. I don't know. He was just a mercenary. He was just. I don't know. He doesn't do a lot for me. Sorry.
Okay. What do you mean a mercenary? Because he shopped himself around in college when his dad shopped him around. I'm talking about production on the field.